Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday afternoon. I hope yours is going well. We've got another Seahawks video to get to today, but first, I want to give a shout out to all the subscribers and special tip of the cap to all the channel members, especially new channel members, Q and Thomas Nelson Jr., and elite channel members, Brendon, Mikel, Hasher for MVP, VGK Tiger 75, Ryguy, Salacious, Crumb, Brendan Nelson's Haircut, TlVlO, ItsHoof, What's These Nuts, and the Reno. All right. You guys know what we're doing. You guys know what it's all about. We are taking a look at center prospects. And today we're going to take a look at players who I expect to be drafted relatively later this April. 4th through 6th round. They will probably get drafted, but probably going to be available in those later rounds. And also, in direct contrast to what we did yesterday, we will be taking a look at players who I actually want the Seahawks to draft and who I actually think will be a good fit. Obviously, yesterday's video was a little pessimistic. I was rather critical of all four centers we looked at, and I was pretty negative on the fit that I imagined they would be providing in this offense. Today is going to be a little more optimistic. We're going to actually look at some players who I do like. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. You guys know the idea. You guys know what we're looking for if you watched yesterday's video. So here are some centers we can draft in the later rounds who I think could fit into the Waldron offense. So first, we're going to do Mikel Minnett of Penn State, the Nittany Lions. This is the first center who I would actually be excited to draft, who I actually think would be a good fit in this offense. So Mikel Minnett, don't know how old he is. He's Penn State. 6'4", 306 pounds. So he's got pretty good size, but he's a little lighter than the guys we were looking at yesterday, and I think that's good. I think that's going to be valuable. I think that's something that Waldron is going to place a high value on. As for his draft position, Pro Football Network really likes him. They think he's going to go in the third round, late third. Walter Football, little less optimistic. They think he's going to go anywhere from the fourth through the sixth, which lines up with the video I'm making right now. And then you have Pro Football Focus, and ESPN, they both think he's probably going to be like a 6th round pick. And then the Draft Network thinks he's going undrafted, so they're a little less high on him. But I suspect that he's going to get drafted somewhere between the 4th and the 6th. So he's got a good frame. He can hold up against tougher interior defensive linemen from my scouting. It seems like he can do that well, but more importantly than that, in this instance, would be he's good in the open field. He's got good mobility. He knows how to get to the second level and throw a block on a linebacker or a defensive back. He's a good athlete for a center. Those are the attributes that I think this team might value. Those are the things that I think will help this offense play the way that I think Waldron will want them to play. He's got a lot of experience playing center as well. I think he was a 4-year starter for Penn State, so no issues there. So all around, this is a prospect that he's not necessarily the greatest player, but I think there are enough positive attributes about him to consider bringing him in to be part of the new offense. Some of the downsides with Mikel Minnett would be he's not great in terms of his reach or his length. He's not. He does have some reach issues when he's down in the trenches with defensive linemen that he's trying to tango with. There is some reason to believe he's not a great snapper in the shotgun, which would be a huge problem in the NFL. You have to be very consistent with shotgun snaps. And he does have some poor habits just in terms of technique that he has to iron out at the pro level, which kind of gets us to a recurring problem when you're looking at these players. And it's the problem you would expect, in fairness, but the issue is these players might be good fits and they might be good one day, but it's a little optimistic to say they're going to swoop right into the NFL and be better than Ethan Posick from day one. So if you're taking Mikel Minnett, you may have to accept that Posick's your guy for a year and Minnett might be the guy in year 2. But as far as that goes, I think I would be willing to take a chance on a guy like Mikel Minnett. So that's my first guy. Let's swing over into player number 2. Drew Dalman of the Stanford Cardinal. And I've talked about this guy a lot before. He was somebody I mentioned in my center video that I made about a month ago as a late round prospect that the Seahawks should be interested in. And my interest in Drew Dalman has not wavered since. He's light and relatively small for a center. I will concede that. 286 pounds is pushing it. 6'3" is not ideal either. But I think there's enough about this player that's good to consider taking a flyer on. ESPN thinks he's going to be about a fifth round pick. Pro Football Network thinks he's going to be more of a fifth to sixth rounder. The Draft Network thinks he'll be a seventh rounder. Pro Football Focus thinks he'll be lucky to be drafted, and Walter Football has him completely unranked. So he's probably like a sixth round pick if you're adding everything up. He's probably a sixth or a seventh rounder. So the main thing that draws me to Drew Dalman is he's a good athlete with nice balance and quickness. He's somebody who, when he gets into open space, knows what he's doing. And I think that kind of thing, like I said, is going to be valuable in this offense. He's also very smart, as you would expect from a Stanford player. He's got good fundamentals, which allow him to, partially at least, overcome his smaller frame. And he's got great on-field awareness, and he's a great double teamer, which is very valuable if you're a center. I've had a lot of people in my comment section lately say, we need a center who can go up against Aaron Donald, so we can't get these small, weak guys. We have to get a bruiser. We can't get these finesse centers. But my thing is, we kind of got Gabe Jackson and Damian Lewis to go up against Aaron Donald, or the center doesn't necessarily need to be that guy. You can work around things like that. You can mitigate that by making sure you have the right player matched up on Aaron Donald consistently. So Drew Dalman, to me, would be a good developmental center for this offense. As for his weaknesses, they're pretty obvious. He's not very strong, and he's not very large. So he does need to get stronger, and the size is just going to be, it is what it is, unfortunately. I think that's something that this team should be willing to work with. I think that's a part of the skill set that Shane Waldron doesn't value as much in his offense, if I had to guess. So, Drew Dalman, I don't think he would be an immediate starter in all likelihood. He needs to put on some muscle. But if you're looking for somebody to take over for Posick next year when Posick's contract expires, I think Dalman would be a decent place to start looking. And the final player we're going to look at today, the final guy who I could see as a late round center for the Seahawks that I would be excited about, would be Jimmy Morrissey of the Pittsburgh Panthers. I think it's the Pittsburgh Panthers, right? Yeah, it is. All right. Jimmy Morrissey of Pittsburgh. Don't know how old he is. He's 6'3" and 300 pounds, so he's got decent size, but he's certainly not big for a center, which again I think is probably just what the doctor ordered. Walter Football really likes him. They think he'll be a third to fifth round pick, which is a little higher than anyone else does. A lot higher, actually. Draft Network, Pro Football Network, ESPN all think he's going to be a seventh round pick. Pro Football Focus thinks he's going to be undrafted or a fringe seventh round pick. So I think the more likely scenario is he's a sixth or seventh rounder. But yeah, this guy, he was a 4-year starter after beginning career as a walk-on. I think he won the award in 2020 for best player in the nation who started as a walk-on. So, I mean, hey, the dude's a great story. You guys talk about Quinn Meiernans, how he's a great story. This is another great story, too. He's got excellent all-around technique, which means that whatever potential he has to be a player in the NFL, he will get to that maximum potential because of his technique. He's a technician. So he's smart, he plays smart, and to me, those are the assets, those are the talents, the skills that make sense in this offense. He's a decent athlete, but he's not as good as would be hoped for a player of his size. If you're going to get a center who's 6'3" and 300 pounds, you would probably want to get a center who is just a little quicker and more athletic than Morrissey, but he's not a bad athlete. He's just, you kind of leave Jimmy Morrissey feeling maybe a little underwhelmed. He doesn't have great strength. He doesn't have the mean streak that a lot of offensive linemen have, which could limit him in the pros. At the end of the day, I see Jimmy Morrissey as being a good fit for a zone scheme in the NFL, which is what I'm looking for. So that's why Jimmy Morrissey would be my third and final late round selection at center for the Seahawks that makes sense to me. So these are three guys who, Jimmy Morrissey, to be clear, I would not expect him to be a starter from day one. He probably needs to add a little bit of strength at least. But these are three guys I could see us taking who could be year 2 starters with the potential to maybe steal the starting spot from Posick late in this season if they come along well. As of right now, it's hard to see any of these three guys as being day 1 starters. Stranger things happen. But if you got one of those three, I would be pretty optimistic about the future at the center position. So those are the only three guys who jumped out to me as mid-round picks that make sense. So I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Peace out. Go Hawks. Let me know what you guys think about these three guys. Would you be okay with getting one or two or all three or any of these three in the mid rounds? Do you not like any of them? Would you maybe target somebody else in the 4th through 6th round? Did I miss anybody? Do you think any of these guys could be better than Ethan Posick from day one? What do you guys think about that? So let me know, and I'm going to get out of here. Tomorrow we will go over the true sleepers at center, and yeah, see you guys in stream later.